Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Broyans Farm.
I'm just heading down here to the farm now. Yesterday was the hometown farmers market, and this is what we brought back. If you see my previous video, you'll know that we had a great day. But now it's time to get all this stuff unloaded, back in the greenhouse, get it fertilized if it needs to be, or just regular watered. Every single time we empty a bunch of stuff out of the greenhouse, we end up filling it right back up with all the new seedlings. Our seedling tables are going down, but they're still pretty full. Sammy just got the giant 6-foot sunflowers done yesterday. We have like a half a flat of all of our tomato varieties to do yet, along with the peppers. And then still celosia and marigolds and petunias and patience, salvia, lavender, portulacas. Here's some celery, ageratum. And the list just goes on and on. But like I said, we are hammering at it every single day. Graham Huffman, Pat Broyan, my Uncle Rick, Amberly, everybody is just coming up trying to help us get this done. That way everything can start growing. That way we can take it to market to sell it all. Here in the seed room is all the vine crops that I seeded about 3 or 4 days ago. And now finally they're all just cracking through the soil. You can see the little green necks coming out. This is all like cucumbers, pickling cucumbers back here. And the 4 packs is dill. Then over here is all the zucchini. There's watermelon. And then on the left side here, Sammy got the green bush beans planted. Red beets are doing really good. I guess we could probably take these to market for sale pretty soon, because you can actually take these and pull that out if you wanted to plant it in your garden. So it's just about ready. Obviously, I'd like to see it bigger, but I really don't think it's going to hurt at all if somebody wanted to buy them and plant them right now, because you can direct sow these right into the ground out in the field or in your garden, whatever that may be. Mom got all of our cole crops moved out onto the wagon just to make more space, because these can take the colder weather if it does drop down again. And then like you've seen before, this is all of our onions. Our retail onions are really going down fast. That is these flats right here. There's 2, 4, 6, 7, and then the rest are chives, what you see here. And then all these are our field onions. And you can see they're starting to kind of hang their heads a little bit. That's because they're pretty dry and they need to get watered right now. I think yesterday we sold our record amount of sunflowers in one day, which was 2 batches. And actually I think it was even a couple more than that. But they were all blooming beautiful, and I thought, well, now's the time to sell them. And it's nice to get all these younger, smaller ones on the waters. That way, you know, we don't have to hand water them every single time. We can just hook it up to the line right here and water the whole group at one time. But now the Rio Carnival are just starting to come out. These are a bigger sunflower, and as you can see, they have like that orange center on them, which is pretty cool. We got the truck unloaded. Didn't take very long. My Uncle Rick came, and Amberly, and Jared. Then they all left. I did a lot of watering, and then Pat, Graham, and Amberly stayed, and now they're getting a lot of seeding done. A lot of what they're doing today is our peppers for the field. That's a tray that's done. That one's done. Those 2 over there are done. That's just some extra. And now they're both doing new flats. Sammy just left, but she'll be coming back in a couple minutes. She's working on trimming all of these calabacoa pots. You can see there's not much color on them now. They did look like those over there with quite a few blossoms and pretty like long, but they're not as full as we'd like to see them, and by cutting them down, it makes them grow bushier. And then we don't have to water them quite as much. They don't use as much water. And so there's a couple reasons why, but you can also see right here, is a great example of how just long and straggly they are. Also, another reason that happens is when they're too tight together, they just want to reach out for sunlight instead of trying to grow, like I said, and fill in that whole pot before getting these long legs on them. But either way, the plant's still beautiful. We're only making it better. Here's all the field peppers they already got done. I got to go back through and water these now. Because these are for the field, we're only putting 1 tag in each end, just so we know. For retail, we'll put around the whole entire thing. So I finally just got done watering. Now I'm gonna move on to staking both high tunnels. That already got a good start on this upper one. Because these tomatoes were bigger, he wanted to come through, stake them, and then tie them. That way they didn't start blowing over with the wind. But now all the other rows are basically to this height, and it's really time to get them staked and tied, which I'm gonna try and do with Sammy later on. But first I'm gonna go through and just put the poles in. And you can just see how they're blowing a little bit, but the most important thing is that they're not laying over. Daisy doesn't really know what to do today. She's just kind of following me around. But it's very hot in here, especially because we don't have this open real far. With it being real breezy, we didn't want to, you know, put any more stress on those plants. So these are our stakes right here. I can't remember what kind of wood they are. I think it's 4, maybe 5 foot. And then we'll pound them in the ground 12 inches. And you can kind of see from last year, the mud spot on them. We used to have them marked, but I don't see the mark on this one. So that means I'm gonna have to mark them before I put them in. Try and do it straight and even as a job as we can. So I got my post marked right there. The biggest thing is I want to make sure I get the stake lined up in between both tomatoes the best that I can. And the fabric is, well, it's upside down. The fabric is kind of thick, so my first pound has got to be pretty forceful to get down through it, and then I'm good to go. Just like that. Now, if I want, I can straighten that out, just like that. Try and, like I said, make the post as straight as possible. And go down through. That seems pretty good. And that's it right there. So I just got done, 2 rows on the left, 1 all the way on the right. We put the metal ones on the end just because they're holding a lot of weight, and we even kind of angle them backwards. That way when the tomatoes get big and they get a lot of weight on them with the tomatoes and it pulls them in, it doesn't pull past straight, you know, maybe pulls them perfect, or maybe not even quite perfect. But anyway, went really well. You can see, tried to make them as straight as possible. And now hopefully Sammy will be here in about 45 minutes. And we'll get these tied up. Now I'm down here to the lower one. Just went through and got all my stakes laid out. Basically, same thing, just smaller version. We have a bunch of tomato plants in here just because we couldn't fit them in the upper greenhouse. And I would say the size of the tomatoes are just about the same. A couple of them have some rye coming up through just from what I planted in the fall. Not gonna hurt anything. But it's not gonna be long. We're gonna be coming through here and pulling these little suckers off. But that'll be for another video, and I'll explain to you why we do that. So I just got back up here to the upper one now. Sammy's in here. She's starting to tie them. I'm just holding the box for her. Makes it a little bit easier. When they're smaller, you can get away with one person tying them by themselves, but especially when they're bigger, you can't do it. It's just everything gets caught and tangled, and you can't do it properly. And so this is the first tying, obviously. It'll probably be, I would say, 7, 8, maybe 9 altogether by the end of it, which will be on each row in both high tunnels. And right now is when they're growing the fastest. Like I said, Dad did those 3 middle rows there a couple days ago, and they're already about to be done again. I would say within the next day or so. How it works is, if you, it's hard to see, but she's going to come off the right side of the pole this time, go around the right side of the first plant, and then the left side of the second plant, and then come around. And now this time she'll come off the left side of the post, go around the left side of the first plant, and go around the right, and just keep doing that pattern all the way down.
and then we'll come back up and do the same exact thing. So basically it makes an X in between the tomatoes, holding them pretty tight and sturdy, but not too tight to where it's suffocating them and they can't grow. It's the next day. We're just starting to load. Got a couple of the herbs, petunias. Graham is out here filling flats. Pap's getting ready to start planting basil. Amberly and Sammy are cleaning petunias, and Nick's loading. As they get bigger, and then some of the blossoms die, they get kind of ugly. And they gotta just be plucked off of there.
And there goes another lucky winner down the midway.
That's the biggest basil I think we ever had to transplant.
Oh, that's the most beautiful basil east of the Mississippi.
Next thing we're gonna move on to is peppers. Try and get 1 or 2 flats of everything. There's Cubanelle, Lady Bell. I don't know. That's another Lady Bell. Here's a Keystone Giant. What else do we got here? We have some single Red Bell. Here is some single Keystone Giants, which I'll give. Here's a single Hot Portugal, also known as Cayenne. You got them? Yep. That one's hard. Here we got a Yellow Bell 6-pack. More Lady Bell. Here's a snack pepper. I like to take almost full flats, if not full flats. And that one's only missing 2, so that shouldn't be a big deal. What else? I think that's kind of it for here. Oh, we got a bunch over here yet. Tiburon, which is a poblano. So we just finished with all the flats. Now we're working on hangers. Sammy already got 1 load up here. Tried to get a good array of everything, but there was still a couple things we couldn't fit that once we're done loading the baskets, we might just try and shove right inside the door.
Here, can you take this one, please? Thank you.
I just got down here to the lower high tunnel. Sammy and her friend Alyssa. This is Alyssa's first time on a farm. She's never seen anything like this before. But she's learning. Sammy's teaching her. Just like the upper one, basically same thing. She's gonna weave them, go down one side and back up the other. Just like you see over here. Kind of just makes the next in the middle and braces that plant up. Too tight, you're gonna suffocate it. Or you could scar up the plant. And too loose, it's just not going to do anything. Right now is when they're growing the fastest, so probably in I'd say about a week we'll be tying them again, and they'll probably be around this tall at that point. Alyssa's just holding the box of string. We put a piece of PVC and run the string through it. Just kind of makes it easier for Sammy. Guides that string. While they work on that, I'm heading up back to the greenhouses. We're just about finished loading. Have like literally 2 flats, maybe 1 or 2 hang baskets to put on yet, and then that's it. Now Mom wants to get a load around for the farm market, so we'll just use the yellow van, which I don't know if you can see that up there. Not as big, but also if we have to take 2 or 3 trips with that, not such a big deal because it's only a mile away. Dad's just basically been up at the shed and in the fields all day long, spraying, tilling the fields, doing whatever to get ready, because potatoes and onions and all that kind of stuff's gonna be going in soon. Here's what the truck looks like. Kind of expecting a pretty big day tomorrow, getting into the prime time of the season. We literally can't fit anything else, like I said, besides maybe 1 or 2 baskets or 1 or 2 flats. But I am thinking about seeing if we can either get more shelves, maybe create something that goes across the middle, but we just got to be able to haul a little bit more. Like, we've got a real good variety in just about everything, but I'd say there's probably 20 flats, I would say at least, and maybe
the same amount in hanging baskets that we should be taking and we could be selling. We just can't. And so there's a couple tomato varieties, a couple more of each hanging basket, a couple more pepper varieties. Not really a couple more varieties, but just a couple more flats we could take of each variety that we know we could sell, because everybody now is getting ready to plant their gardens. And so Mom said she wants about 10 or 15 fuchsias. They're just coming out now in blossom. You see all the little balls. They're gonna soon pop open.
It's actually hard to tell which colors they are yet, but I'm just gonna take a bunch and it'll kind of be a surprise.
So we just finished up restocking out here at the farm market. Everything looks really good.
Same as it does, obviously, back home. Now we're ready for the weekend, but hopefully it's gonna be really busy.
That's what I'm calling it a wrap for this video. As always, thank you guys for watching, and always remember it ain't much, but it's honest work.